Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Connor and this is the 31st episode of the Anxiety and Depression Vlogs, and today we're going to go over hacks that will help you manage your day-to-day life when it comes to dealing with anxiety and depression. So let's take a look at what anxiety is. Anxiety is when you have fear, and as some of you might not know, but fear is not a real thing. It's not a tangible thing. Fear is something created by the mind to keep you safe. And when you're in a fear state of mind, you're also in a fight or flight state of mind where you can either fight or you can leave the situation. And that's the mindset that you're in, especially when you have anxiety attacks. If you're someone who gets those a lot, it can be a really big thing, and it can really affect your whole day when you're stressed out and you're fearful of something that might happen to you. And a lot of times, for those of you who don't have anxiety attacks or might not know how it feels to have those, a quick example is that when I get anxiety attacks, I'm totally fearful that something is going to happen to me, something bad is going to happen. I just have that gut feeling that something is going to go wrong and something is going to happen in a negative way. And that's the fear that lingers when I have those anxiety attacks. And so I'm sure a lot of you who have those anxiety attacks feel the same way as I do. So one way to combat your anxiety attacks is looking at it from this perspective. When you're in a fight or flight mode and you have an anxiety attack, your body is changing and your breath becomes more and more fast-paced. And when you're breathing heavier and you're breathing a lot faster than you normally do, your body starts to change, your chemical imbalance starts to change. And so what we can do to combat that heavy breathing is by taking slow, deep breaths in a consistent way to help change our physiological state in order to bring down our mood and bring down our anxious state of mind. So heavy breathing, that leads me into the second step, which is meditation. And I've talked a ton about this. I'm one of the biggest advocates for meditation because I know how much it works. Not because I think it works, but because scientifically it changes your psychological state of mind. It brings your body from being a state of panic and worry and fear down to a state of calm and peace and relaxation. So meditation is a great way to combat those anxious thoughts. The third thing I would say to combat those anxious thoughts, and the third hack I would say, would be to journal out what your fears are and what makes you anxious. Journal out everything that you're thinking, from what could go wrong to what could go right. Journal out everything in your thoughts. It could take 5 minutes. If you want to spend 10, 15 minutes on it, you can. There's no time limit. But when you do this, you're going to realize when you see your thoughts on paper, it does something to your mind, that when you see it and you're like, okay, these are the things that make me scared. These are the things that make me fearful. And then once you write it down, you can start to analyze, hey, okay, I don't need to be fearful of this because the worst consequence that could happen with this is this. And you start to do this, you start to play this game in your mind that, you know, when you realize, okay, and you analyze like what's the worst thing that could happen with this situation or that situation, you start to realize it's not that bad, and it doesn't need to take that much out of you, and it doesn't need to cause that much fear within your mind and your body. So journaling is a great way to get those thoughts out and on paper. And once you release those thoughts on paper, you're gonna feel so much better. You're not gonna feel anxious. You might still have that worry feeling, but you know, you're at least acknowledging your fears. And when you acknowledge your fears and you accept that you're fearful of X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be, the more you can work on growing to combat those issues. And you can't really combat those issues if you haven't accepted what fear you're feeling inside. So my best suggestion to you is to write down those fears and those feelings that you have that are making you anxious, and work on writing down things that you can do to combat those fears. And most of the time, which leads me to step 4, is if you have fears, face them head on. And if you're with your fears long enough, you will get over those fears, trust me. For me, I was fearful of driving at nighttime. That was a big fear for me, and I can't explain why. I don't really know what caused it, but driving at nighttime scares the absolute hell out of me. And when I wrote down on paper like that it scared me, I began to realize, okay, and I began to look at, all right, what are the things that I'm scared about specifically when it comes to nighttime and driving? Was it that I can't see the cars as well? Was it I can't read the street signs, so I'm a little less aware of where I'm going? Whatever the case may be, the fact that I wrote them down made me aware that I could beat this fear. And today, I am actually able to drive at night and without any anxious thoughts or anxious worries. And it's great because I am now able to live a more abundant life with more freedom and more power to do the things that I want to do, especially at nighttime. That's the time when everyone goes out, and I felt like I was really missing out on a lot when I couldn't drive when it got dark out. But when I learned how to combat those fears by writing them down and acknowledging them, it helped me so much, and I'm so glad that I learned that tip, because it changed my life. So guys, these are all the hacks that I have for you today, and there will be more in the upcoming episodes, but first I want you guys to focus on these couple hacks that I shared with you, and I encourage you to leave comments of how these hacks have helped you in the future and how they've helped with your anxiety, your depression. I really want you guys to try these, and I just truly believe that they work, because my life has changed because of them, and I know that yours can too. So if you guys like this episode, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe down below to see our latest videos, and I will see you guys next week.